So thank you everyone for joining the seventh series of SIP's Mindful Living, leading through COVID-19. A little bit more about the SIP United Care Initiative for people who have just joined us for the first time today. We are offering a series of free 40-minute webinar covering topics on how people, business, and community can thrive and stand united amid COVID-19. The whole series is anchored on the science of mindfulness. It provides participants with some useful tips to work from home, mindful living amid the crisis. Today we have our guest speaker, Mr. Michael J Griffin, who will be sharing strategies on how to work from home effectively. As you noticed, we have switched off and muted everyone's video and microphone to facilitate a smooth sharing. However, we will have a Q&A session in a while, and please feel free to unmute yourself, share your video. Love to, see you face to face and have a very open and transparent Q&A session. A little bit of introduction about our guest speaker. Michael has been a communication coach and trainer across Asia for the last 30 years. His leadership experience includes leading virtual teams, communicating across culture, and in fact, he has been working from home for 21 years and motivating different personalities to very productive outcome. So this COVID crisis provides Michael the opportunity to share his success and strategies that make it through tough times and how we can emerge stronger post-COVID crisis. With that, I'd like to invite our guest speaker, Mr. Michael J. Griffin.
Thank you, Pei-Shan. Well, welcome everybody. I hope everybody's safe and healthy. Give me a second or two. I will get my share screen going here to get these slides up for you. Okay. All right, let's go with the slides. Here we go. Yeah, working from home. Now, when we put this seminar together, everybody was working from home, but in Singapore, they've lifted a bit and some of you are going back to work. But the key is, whether it's COVID or transition back to work, we're all going through stress and change. And these skills will work as you're transiting back to work or if you're still at home. So use them to communicate and keep relationships healthy and be mindful to keep those relationships healthy during COVID or as you transit back to work. Basically 21 years working from home out of Singapore and cross-cultural virtual working with teams of Indonesia, India, Vietnam, USA, and the Netherlands. Yeah, we mentioned this, that you're either working from home or transiting back to work, but this is change and it can be stressful. So what's the outcome of this seminar? First, you'll be given a link to do your free work from home and team communication profile. Some of you have done it, but I think after this seminar, you want to get the link and get some insight on how you communicate and lead in times of stress and no stress. You'll see I'll teach the 6 skills of enhancing relationships in times of stress, and then tips for working from home. Well, an unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. He said this, and today we're going to examine ourselves and how we communicate under stress and no stress. Know thyself has been attributed to Socrates, but it's not. It's on the Delphi temple in Athens, which is or near Athens in the lower right-hand corner. So know your communication style, know thyself, and be aware of your stressors. Lingfan, can you put the page up? Do you have my profile, the page? Yeah, just put up the first and second page. We'll show them what the beginning of this work from home profile looks like. Yeah, so here it is. It's my profile. My style is outgoing. There's the summary of my style. And then scroll down to the next page. Now, here's my remote tips for working from home or in times of stress. You can see everybody that does this profile will get their own tips. And then further back in the profile, you'll learn different ways to communicate with different people. So here, how I should communicate with direct people or reflective people, opposites. So do the profile after the session is over and gain insight into how you communicate under stress, and working from home. That's it. Okay, Ling Fan, that's good enough. I go back to sharing my screen, I guess. Yeah, it's not working. Oh, here we are. Okay. All right. So here's an overview of the communication styles, and these are opposites. So a person that's direct is opposite of a person that's reflective. So a communication style is direct to the point or collaborate and take my time. The other two opposites are outgoing, like myself, versus the reserved person who will be a bit laid back and communicating. Next becomes the steady person. And in fact, most people in the world are fairly steady. And the opposite of steady is a dynamic personality who's fast moving, changing the subject all the time. Then we have the compliant person. This person loves high quality, wants to talk about quality, reducing risk, and is careful and conservative, versus the pioneering style, open-minded, unconventional. And someone in SIP is a pioneering type, and that one is Sandia Kaimo, right? She's pioneering, yeah. So let's take our first poll. If you have to pick one style of yourself, which style would it be? Direct in people's face, reflective, outgoing, reserved, predictable, dynamic, changing, compliant, or pioneering? All right, go ahead. What style are you? Pick one style. Oh, wow, I did it my way. We have Frank Sinatra in the room. Yes. Haha. Okay. Oh, we have a predictable, steady. Yep. Most people are steady. Yep. Good. We have one direct person. Interesting. Wow, we have a whole bunch, except compliant. Wow. Now, let me clue you. When we do Singaporeans, if most of you are Singaporeans, usually we have a lot of compliance. So we have a quite unusual group today. Direct, reflective, outgoing, reserved, pioneering, dynamic. Yeah, interesting. Go to the next poll. Is that next poll ready, or will you keep going? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so again, the predictable type. Most people are a predictable personality, steady, polite, and harmonious. All right, let's go. Let's go to the next slides. All right, okay. Now, first, know thyself, your own style. Do the profile. Then begin to recognize other people's styles, and then adapt your style for healthy relationships and win-win communication. And these styles of communication you can use at home, work, or virtually. Okay, all right. Okay, so here's my style: direct, outgoing, dynamic, and pioneering. So I move fast, I'm an extrovert, blah, blah, blah. But look at my daughter, Jasmine. Opposite me, totally opposite. Reflective, reserved, predictable, compliant. Now, if I have to communicate with her, hey, Jasmine, come on, let's go. No, it doesn't work. Hey, Jasmine, come on in, let's have a chat on this topic or something. I adapt my style to get along with Jasmine and make it a win-win conversation. This is how we keep healthy relationships. Here's an example with my daughter. Now, I must ask you, you've mentioned your style in the poll, but what about the style of your spouse, your boss, and your coworkers? Again, that could be very, very different. Usually in every team, they're all different styles, and we sometimes have to adapt to win-win relationships and win-win communication. Now, in COVID or transiting back to work during this COVID crisis can cause stress. Upper left, stress with your boss. Upper right, maybe stress at home with your spouse. Lower left, kids. And of course, personal stress, lower right. Now, if you do have a boss who's a jerk and giving you stress, SIP has a special offer for you. You can buy the Boss Voodoo Doll at special price from SIP if you have a really bad boss. But of course, we're joking, okay? All right, nice. Now, you can order the doll. Now, we also have different dolls: boss stress, spouse stress, and mother-in-law stress dolls. So just order them from SIP today and laugh at my jokes. Okay, all right. Okay, now, stress. Every communication style has stressors. I'm direct, and my stress can be anger. So I have to be learned to be calm and less judgmental. If I'm outgoing, I may talk too much. I must be realistic and not so optimistic. Dynamic, I must listen better. I may cut people off. And pioneering, I must work with the consensus of the group to keep things going rather than say, do it my way. So here it is. By the way, Ling Fang or Sandhya will send you my slides in PDF so you'll have these to work on at work or at home. Here are the different styles and what happens to each style under stress. So Jasmine under stress might withdraw. She might become worrisome. My other daughter, Jade, might become angry and blaming because she's very direct. An outgoing person might talk too much or be too optimistic. Yeah. So here's the stressor-free style, and then what you should do to help that style to keep it a win-win conversation. All right, now that you have know thyself with the profile, begin to recognize the way other people communicate, either under no stress or a lot of stress, then use these skills for enhancing relationships and diffusing stress, especially when other people are under stress. Let's take a look at the first skill is asking good questions. Listening and asking questions is the #1 skill. Under stress, a lot of people stop listening. The way you can listen is come up with good questions to ask the person that you're talking to. There are 2 types of question, open questions and closed questions. Open questions encourage the person to respond freely. What do you think about that? How do you feel? Tell me more. Closed questions get a specific response. Could be, what day do you want to meet? How many do you want to order? When should we meet? So it's best in stressful situations to start with open questions to allow the person to answer and feel trusted that you're not cornering him with closed questions. Here are the way you get people to listen to you. If you're talking to a pushy, direct person, focus on the vision and the results. If you're focusing on a outgoing, extrovert person, they want to hear the benefits. If you're talking to a predictable, harmonious person, have the recipe, get through things logically. They like logic and assurance, and give them alternatives to solve the problem. Then finally, the compliant high-risk person, they're a bit worried. So first, be professional, that you can be trusted, and secondly, give them ways to reduce the risk of making a decision. Here's the second skill, acknowledge and show empathy. Every piece of literature I have read through COVID for senior CEOs and directors is that they should express more empathy. Usually it's results, KPIs, KPIs. But how? We must show more empathy. Here are the ways. First, you acknowledge a person's problem. Oh, yes, that is a problem. Or, oh, that must be frustrating. Oh, yes, if it's not solved, it could cause more problems. Oh, many of my friends are having the same problems. Or, I feel the same way you do. So express that empathy, acknowledge the problem, acknowledge their feelings to help bring them together for problem solving and reducing stress. The third skill is confirming. This skill is for you to show that you understand what another has said. Oh, so Fang, so I heard you say correctly that you want me to be here by 9 a.m. tomorrow? Or, oh, so you want better sleep tonight. Is that right? You're letting the other person know that you're listening by confirming with that person. People want to be listened to. The next skill is affirming. If things are stressful, it's always good to affirm people's positive comments or positive input or attitude during stress. Exactly, I agree, that's right. Simple affirming of a person's attitude, idea, alternative, when you're discussing things under stress. This one, checking. Very important. across cultures and virtually. Checking means, are you on the bus? A lot of times when virtual people can get into their hand phone, do other things, get distracted, this skill keeps them in the virtual conversation. Or if there's a lot of distractions or people are not focusing, you ask and check, are you on the bus? Now you don't ask them, are you on the bus? You don't do that. What you do is this. How does that sound? Do you have any questions on what I said? Can you agree with that? Anything to add? So this keeps them involved if they're distracted. The next one is positioning. It's like a turn signal of a car. You're letting people know that you're changing lanes or you're turning around a corner. This lets people know you're changing the subject. People don't want to be seen as manipulated. So by using the skill of positioning, you're being polite and letting them know you're changing the subject. Peishan, you mentioned earlier that you want to talk about the defects of the machine, or I would like now to discuss about different ways of how you can solve the problem. So you're letting the person know that you're changing subjects. Now, these are the skills. What are they? Listening, now I got to think of them off the hand, right? Listening, acknowledging, showing empathy, affirming, confirming, positioning, and checking to make sure people are on the bus. Now, let's take a look at some working from home or transiting back to work tips that you can use to keep relationships harmonious and smooth through crisis. Any transition is stressful. Back to work, new working rules, maybe new people. Some people may have been laid off or still at home working around the family. Stick to a healthy routine. Practice mindfulness when you get up. Meditate or pray, express gratitude, possibly get out and exercise, and eat a healthy breakfast. These are the keys to a start in the morning to keep you calm and collected for the day. And have a Red Bull like I do. I don't hear anybody laughing at my joke. Okay, all right, we'll continue. Ha ha ha. All right, have a Red Bull. Ha 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 ha. Okay, all right. Next, set boundaries. This can be at home or at work. There'll probably be new boundaries at work, I would imagine, because of COVID. Place where you sit, what's around you, the timing, if it's at home, when you're going to work, when you're not. Boundaries, letting the kids know what your boundaries are for work in terms of time and space. Clear out the distractions. Could be again the hand phone, checking email, Facebook, etc. Could be the children running in and out. And of course, take care of your health. Wear the mask when you go out, hand sanitizer, and especially if you're going back to work, keep your distance. Have a daily priority list. This is important. So you've done mindfulness in the morning, you possibly exercise, you had a good breakfast, hopefully with your kids, if you have kids, and then you have your to-do list of how you're keeping focus today rather than concentrating on the negative stuff that's all around us. So you do your priorities and then reward yourself. Reward yourself. That cup of Starbucks, that cup of coffee, chocolate, or other treats, like I reward myself. Whoa. Here I am eating durian in Ayr Hitam in Penang. Wow, lovely durian up there and cheap. There, oh, and here I am. If you want to know where this durian is, you drive from Raub to Fraser's Hill. There's the big durian, here that, so I eat durian all over Malaysia when I can go to Malaysia. So I'm stressed. I'm stressed because my birthday is July 1 and I wanted to go to Penang and Malaysia to eat durian and I can't do it. So I'm really stressed, okay, as an Angmoa. Okay, all right. All right. Take breaks, get outside during the day at home. Just get out, go out in the parking lot, take a walk around the block, get outside and take those breaks too. Give you a break. Interact with humans outside work. Don't isolate. Could be relatives, could be friends, and especially older folk. I can speak because I am one. A lot of older folk are by themselves, don't have much to do. In fact, my accountant, her father-in-law is feeling so lonely at home. He's going out in Indonesia and Jakarta, walking without a mask, just mixing with people because he wants to be around people. Dangerous. But if you have any old folk, please call them up, give them a little talk or something, and help with their loneliness. Now, you don't want to do what we do in America. You don't want to get together in a pool, do you? No, but this is American, and I can say this because I'm an American. Here's the time also during COVID, things are a bit more relaxed in terms of work and KPIs, that you can come home or be at home and eat dinner with your family, with your kids, and no laptop, no hand phone at the dinner table. Relate to your spouse and kids. Finally, take time for you and your hobby. My hobby is cycling. I cycle most mornings. You may have a craft. You get into cooking. A lot of my staff are now different styles of cooking. You may have some other, and you may even do your activity via Zoom or YouTube. I have one staff in Indonesia who does Zumba, and she does it by Zoom. Now, if you want to know Zumba, I can introduce you to this Zumba dancer, and I must tell you, I do take a commission, but he's in New Zealand. Another joke. All right. Now, Ling Fan, let's take a look at our participants and see which tips for reducing their stress are they using now, either working from home or transiting back to work. You can answer more than one, okay? Go for it. Which ones are you doing regularly? Go for it. I guess that's it. Yeah, so eight people have voted. So regular exercise comes out one. That's very, very good. What are the two weakest ones? Mindfulness in the morning. Yeah, just whether you're meditating or just taking some time out to be mindful, which we're going to do at the end of this session. And eating a healthy breakfast. It looks like a lot of people are eating nasi lemak and some really good Peranakan food, but not a healthy breakfast. Okay, thank you for sharing. All right, I'll stop sharing and get rid of the poll. All right, with that, let's open it up for Q&A. If people have any ideas or questions they want to ask about working from home or working through COVID, free to ask. Peishan, you want to take over?
Yes, sorry, I was trying to unmute myself.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks so much, Mike. I guess it's probably I think 2 months since, most of us have, started the working from home. Just wanted to understand, for this past 8 weeks, what are some of the challenges that, you guys have faced, and probably Mike could sort of address, these challenges based on his experience.
Yes. Oh,
Anne has a question. Yeah.
So I need to type, or I can just speak it out?
You can speak it
please go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, just a simple one. We know that our community and neighbors and friends and even relative, even families, they have change of behavior during this breakdown, COVID lockdown. So what do you suggest to handle? Because we have many interactions with our family members. We also have co-workers and all that via Zoom and all those things. So it's a bit overwhelmed. What do you suggest to prioritize or settle down? Yeah.
Settle down. One is you have to take care of yourself first. So take those breaks. Don't be, the tendency is for young people to be on the Zoom and on the internet to do your work day and night. Set a time to cut work off. Spend time with your family at meals. I think a lot of times we can't do that before COVID. Relate to the kids. A lot of you that are young parents, don't waste this time. It's actually a blessing to be able to be with your kids. The other thing is, a lot of people may be stressed or depressed. I think just letting them know that you're there, and again, using open questions like, how are you feeling? How's it going for you? How are you coping? Open questions to get them to open up so that you can then respond appropriately with acknowledging or affirming. I know we're not psychologists, but people just want interaction. So you may have to be the leader, the communicator that helps the relationship, because I sense there are a lot of people who are stuck on the negative side, right? Whether, oh, I lost my job, or I'm stuck at home. You may have to be that positive relationship builder by using questions, acknowledging, affirming, etc., to keep them going. And again, old folk, I don't know if you have grandparents or parents or whatever, but the old folk, I think, may need an extra helping hand through this as well. Yeah. Does that help answer that?
Sure. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anne.
I think also to add on to Mike's point, I especially like the fact that he mentioned empathy. I feel like it's often taken for granted that all of us are working from home, so we're always available. But the fact that we're at home actually presents other commitments. You know,
Yes.
for example, home-based learning for kids. You know, when your kids are in school, you can have full attention. But your commitment at home is it's sort of being divided into, it could be your elderly parents, it could be, you know, your family or your kids. So I think it's really understanding that, you know, people have different situations, right? Singles that are at home could be feeling a bit lonely.
Yes. Yes.
You know, if you're staying with your elderly parents, that could be friction as well. Parents, you know, you may have some background kids voice, you know, just being empathetic about it helps. So I think it's, you know, work from home, probably it's here to stay. You know, it may not be 5 days a week, it could be 2 days, 1 day, but having that conscious mind, being mindful about people's differing circumstances, you know, would help to lead and manage a team more effectively. And at the end of the day, you know, your staff or your employees appreciate that, you know, you understand their circumstances.
Let me add to that. You have to take initiative to make things better, because everybody thinks, well, I'm in the same boat as you, so why should I empathize? Everybody's okay. So you may have to take the initiative to make things better by showing empathy and asking good questions. Be that leader that gives people hope, trust, and love through this situation. Yeah. So take initiative to make things better. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions?
Maybe we could have, you know, participants, you know, from this webinar to share their experience as well. You know, if I'm just looking through the list, you know, if Priscilla or Trisha, you know, if you have experience, you know, what has really worked well for you during this work from home period, or, you know, what has not worked so well, and, you know, what are the ways that, you know, you thought of have overcome it, that would be helpful for the group as well. Anyone from, you know, anyone?
I'll step in. I've raised 2 adult kids, but I now have a grandkid that I'm living with. And it's been a real blessing that I take a break and play with the kid to reduce my stress, get away from the computer, get away from work. So taking that play break with your kids if you're home is a big one. And you may not have this chance again. Yeah, it may not happen again. Yeah, in your lifetime. So take a play break with your kids. Oh, and maybe take a break and have a coffee with your spouse as well. That might be helpful too. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, so besides Anne, anyone from the participant group would like to share their experience? Hannah, Jennifer, or Mitch?
Or any ideas for us, helpful hints, helpful tips for us that you picked up on, helpful hints from you.
So maybe I could step in. So the thing is, so I'm a mother to a 3-year-old. So for me, what worked during the COVID-19, during the circuit breaker period is setting boundaries for my child. So the initial first 2 weeks, he would actually literally photobomb into most of the meetings. But I think now he knows that, okay, this is not supposed to be, I'm not supposed to disturb my parent. So I think he knows his boundaries, and I've been able to communicate that well, and he's quite trained. Secondly, definitely I take this as a blessing that the past 2 months, it's been wonderful. And in fact, definitely sitting in front of the screen can be very taxing. So I do take a lot of play breaks with him. So that's something that has been very helpful. Initially, I thought working from home cannot be very effective because you feel that you're all over the place. You need to manage your work, you need to manage your house, you need to manage your kid. But I think I've adjusted well to the new normal. This basically working from home, and yes, we've been able to continue our business as usual. In fact, I think this time has actually let us as a team to be more being able to come together to work together on different projects even virtually. So I think it's been a good good experience for us as a team as well.
Yeah, and Liao.
Yeah, I think I shared mine too. My spouse, my husband. We started off a diet program on March 1st
Oh,
in the lockdown period because he really needed, okay? So because now he's working from home, so I got full time to attention to prepare the meals and all that to control the diets. So this 2 months, he has been reduced to 8 kgs.
Wow.
Which is quite good result.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
And on top of that, I also remotely encourage because his result is significant. So I extended my program to my relatives, my nephew and nieces, my sisters. So through a chat group that I set up for a couple of them, I'm running a second round. The first round for my nephews, the second round for my sister and another nieces. So I hope they adopt it so that they can see the result, they feel encouraged, because a lot of people are confined at home and they find that eating is one way to relieve tensions. So everybody gets bloated a bit. So I take a chance to tell them what I have planned out for my husband and then share with them. So form of encouragement to keep healthy.
Very good, and it's very inspiring. 8 kg, wow.
And he continued to get down, The program good in the way that,
And I want to join.
Third round, I was running.
Okay.
But every round, I can only run one group because it's 21 days initiate program. And there's a follow-ups after that. So, I will keep it to a small group once a month. Good enough for me.
And you're actually supporting people to affirm them that they're getting healthy. This is very good. COVID. Thank you. That was a very good.
Very encouraging.
Very encouraging. Do we have another question? I think I saw someone else say about their self-employed.
I think Priscilla has a question. She's busy with webinars to update her real estate knowledge.
Yeah.
And to do. Oh, yeah.
So sorry because I'm having I'm multitasking. I'm having something on. I'm okay. I like your session very much.
Thank you.
So basically, we can't do anything. If we want to showcase a house, we have to learn how to do virtual reality.
Yes.
To learn how to do this video. So it's totally changed our way of work.
Yes.
Innovation.
I must say, I know where Jadescape is. It was across from my office on Marymount Road. Is that right?
Yeah, because I'm under my CEO, so practically in May every day I have class. I have the webinar training.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. So
that's the other thing is during this time we're forced to learn, aren't we? I never thought I would learn. We're forced to learn. Yes.
I'm actually forced to learn. I'm still very not IT savvy. So sorry, I can't expose myself because I'm not very presentable at the moment.
It's okay. We share your voice. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
We're coming to the end of our webinar session today. To close off the session, I would like to lead everyone on our usual 5-minute self-compassion exercise for the mind and body. SIP self-compassion pause an effort to help to build compassion towards self and people around us, thus, co-creating a more inclusive, sustainable, and mindful world together. So let's start with a self-compassion pause. A lot of these, our participants are familiar with this. So the steps of it are: we are in it together.
We are in it together.
We will get
We
through it together.
get to do it together.
Yes. So let's do it one more time.
We are in it
are in it
together.
together.
We get
We
to do it together.
will get through it together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
then, it's really to, let us come together as a community to show compassion towards ourselves and one another during this difficult period. And really, reinforcing and reaffirming the thought that, coming together during unprecedented times, using a sign language would express our solidarity and being compassionate towards ourselves and people around us. With that in mind, Ling Fang will do a quick introduction of the next session before we end the session today.
Thank you, Pei Shan. As you can see, I've shown the details of the next session on the screen. We will actually be having our last webinar session of this series this Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Do join us to learn more about ecotherapy, where we'll share more on benefits of getting close to nature. What are some of the tips whereby you can actually start getting closer to nature from your home? What can you actually do on a daily basis? So do join us as well. Before we end, we'll actually like you to also help to complete this feedback form so that we can also improve our content further. If you have any further questions that you actually didn't manage to ask, during today's session itself, you can also complete it within the feedback form. So today itself, before we end, we would like you to also help to answer some quick questions on, how do you find today's session itself. So as you can see, we've actually put up the post on your screen itself. So I appreciate if you could take a few minutes to actually complete the survey.
And it is anonymous.
Yes, it is anonymous.
Do remember to follow us on social media platform for our latest updates and more introduction about our webinar. And definitely share this with your friends. I believe Monday is usually a very packed day for everyone. Try to keep the session very short. There are other sessions where we practice mindfulness. It's gonna just sort of brace yourself ahead for the week with a very short session like this. With that in mind, we thank everyone and look forward to seeing you at the next session.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Pei Shan, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike, for your time as well and your insightful sharing.
Thank you.